Disabled chronically ill redditors, what's the worst piece of advice someone has given you to cure your illness disability? I have chronic migraines and have been getting about 15-20 a month since 2017. A well-meaning Facebook friend suggested I put a banana peel on my forehead because your body will absorb potassium into the brain. Yes, my 6 different meds, physical therapy, rigid sleep and eating schedule, Botox injections, etc. that the PA, my primary doctor, and my neurologist all recommended didn't fix my migraines, but they read the banana peel thing on the internet, so it had to be true. I was told to drink a mixture of different cooking oils, like a cup of oils, mixed with sage, oregano, 2 different kinds of teas and something else. Someone convinced my family member that concoction would stop my organ failure. Another said I needed to visit a magical vet who would know exactly what to do to fix me. I should also get off pain medication cause that was what was causing my organ failure, not the string of birth defects I had. Needless to say, I didn't do any and I'm now post-transplant surgery doing much better. Nowhere near perfect but good enough for me. Family still offering stupid advice to fix me, so now I get irate and sarcastic at the mention of juice cleanses and foot pads that pull out toxins. Vitamins instead of Ritalin for ads. Also vitamins for autism. Also, never ever get vaccinated because autism. My mom is fun. For bladder issues, drink more water, drink less water. Have you tried cranberry juice? It actually sucks since it's acidic and makes things worse. My favorite. Have you heard of Kegel's number? I've had this problem for years and years, been to multiple doctors, and I have never, ever heard of Kegel's. Thanks, I'm cured. Kegel's. I had someone tell me to put tea tree oil in my underwear when I had a monster kidney infection from chronic otitis a few weeks ago, caused burning my lady parts would definitely cure that kidney infection. I was checking in for a doctor's appointment for an unrelated procedure. The nurse saw on my chart that I have celiac disease, so she recommended I go see the medical medium, who, I crap you not, is a man who claims to cure chronic illnesses by talking to dead people. She said he could cure my celiac, an autoimmune disease that does not have a cure. This registered nurse actually wrote down his name on a post-it and handed it to me before continuing to check me in for an MRI. It was surreal. Yeah, a lot of nurses are into quackery. Source: I work with a lot of nurses, and I often have to bite my tongue. I know more than one nurse who opposes vaccines. Years ago a fellow patient recommended a supplement she swore by, went to GNC and it was pricey enough to cause me to delay the purchase. A couple of days later it was banned by the FDA due to more than a few sudden deaths. I think I dodged a bullet. My wife has chronic fatigue syndrome. For over a decade she has been dramatically limited in her ability to work, socialize, take care of chores, you name it, she struggles to do it. And here's the thing with CFS. You know you have it when all your tests say you're healthy, when diet changes, rest, and exercise don't help, and when you've been sick like that for a long time. Generally, the worst advice she gets is the well-meaning, simple advice. Have you tried going to bed earlier later, waking up earlier later, eating more or less of this substance, going for walks or doing weights? Or it's not the worst advice because it's even bad advice for general health. Nobody we know is telling her to inject bleach or drink colloidal silver. It's the worst advice because it's so thoroughly condescending. It amounts to saying I've made no attempt to understand your condition, but have you tried not being a helpless moron and doing this incredibly simple and obvious thing? If you know someone with a chronic condition and you hear about some research, or a medical trial, or anything along those lines, they'll probably be happy to hear about it, even if they've heard about it 10 times before. But I know you are sick, but have you tried being healthy will not make them feel better. I had a family member tell me I should wean off my beta blocker medication with B vitamins. Without my beta blocker, I am bedridden. B vitamins aren't going to do crap for that. Plus most B vitamin pills make me throw up. Had a doctor tell me my chronic otitis were just mind over matter and that if I just told my bladder to relax, it would. Turned out the chronic UTIs were from nerve damage due to a progressive spine condition that would have eventually destroyed the use of my legs, bladder, and bowels without surgery. We all get the do yoga gluten free accept Jesus Christ into your heart. etc suggestions I'm sure. A random middle-aged man on the train to Busan looked at my cane and gave me some exercises that I could do to fix my leg. Basically to will it to be cured. He had no idea what the problem was. It was so weird. I have PCOS and possibly endo. My favorite piece of advice is to ignore it because it is all made up and in your head. Yet, no. I have ultrasound and blood work results that say something much different. A few decades ago the common advice for women who had PCOS, endo, terrible cramps, horrible periods in general was wait until you're married, it will go away, because obviously your hormones will start acting differently once you sign legal papers. Everybody has had trouble falling asleep at least once, so everybody thinks they're qualified to diagnose and treat clinical chronic insomnia. Shut the frick up about limiting screen time and warm milk and turning the AC on. I've tried everything you can think of in every combination already, but sure, your solution is definitely gonna be the silver bullet. I've had sleep issues since I was a teenager. If you have any good tips or tricks for getting my sleep schedule back on track, please let me know. Gum, energy drinks and World of Warcraft are no longer options. I recently told my father that accepting my irregular sleep-wake cycle has been the first thing in a long time that's improved my quality of life and productivity. He immediately began to tell me that I should use that forward momentum and focus on having a regular sleep schedule so I can wake up and go to bed at a regular time and be a better person. I had a friend tell me to just go to sleep at X time. Yes, okay, thank you, I will just close my eyes and magically sleep. Of course I won't lay there for hours. Rare liver disease, now on transplant waiting list. You should take turmeric. It's yellow and you go yellow. Remember, like cures like. Do more sports. How is doing sports going to cure endometriosis? There are cells growing somewhere where they shouldn't. It's been linked to estrogen, but honestly, it affects so many women of all shapes, sizes and fitness levels. Sports are neither the cause nor a treatment. On a side note, the best theory on why some women get it was proposed by some American lady. Apparently, I'm having wild sex with demons and that causes endometriosis somehow. MHM. I had a coach once tell me my asthma wasn't an excuse for having a crappy run time. Specialist told me I just needed to go for more walks. Took me another 4 years to get to fibromyalgia diagnosis, then 4 more years after that to get diagnosed with 3 minor heart problems that were just enough to exhaust me doing nothing. I now am on a beta blocker and don't get winded every time I use the stairs. I thought all you fit people were sadistic masochists that enjoyed pain and feeling tired. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia a few years ago and was told I have likely been suffering with it for years. On top of that, I also found out I have chronic fatigue syndrome. I'm basically tired and in pain 24/7. My in-laws tell me all the time that I'm too young to feel that way and maybe I should sleep more at night. This piece of advice was given not to me but my mother. About me. When I was younger I had an awful dust and pollen allergy and initial symptoms of asthma. It was in the early 90s and proper treatment was not available in my country, so my father would bring me meds from one of the Western countries. Inhalers, antibiotics, ointments, you name it, anything to stop me from suffocating. Up until I was 4 years old I was either coughing or suffocating. There was nothing in between. At the same time, I was prescribed really strong antihistamines to at least reduce the reactions, as meds worked on my airways and not additional stuff, rashes, sensitive skin, dryness. See, my father's mom thought it was all a big scam. Had it happened now, she would probably be anti-vaccine person. But back then she focused on the fact that my mom was just being young and wanted her child to feel special. Funnily, my mom is as sensory sensitive as me and my coughing was driving her mad. She used to shout at me a lot. She suggested that it's all the meds that I am taking that cause my issues. She took me to the clinic and asked for an allergy test that I had done on me repeatedly when I was really little, as my mom had no idea why her child keeps coughing and getting chest infections all the time. So one day she comes home, a slip of paper in her hand, yelling at my mom that she is a liar and trying to throw all the meds away. The slip of paper is from the clinic, stating that I have no allergies, no pollen, no dust, no food allergy, nothing. My grandmother just keeps screaming that my mom is poisoning me and she is a young fool. My mom was in her early 20s at the time. What you need to know about my mother is that she is little but fierce. You wouldn't suspect so. She's so petite. She stands up straight and just yells. How can she have any allergic reaction to anything if she is on medication that stops her from having that reaction, you idiot? Basically my medication was helping with large amounts of the allergen, so my mom wouldn't have to vacuum every 6 hours, only every day. On no planet would I have a reaction to a tiny diluted sample on my arm. My allergies did subdue when I got older and I never needed an inhaler to function. Anxiety causes some of my problems with breathing and I will never be a professional athlete, but I don't need any meds now, because it got sorted when I was young. I can't imagine what would happen if my mom actually liked and respected her mother-in-law and actually listened to her. How can she have any allergic reaction to anything if she is on medication that stops her from having that reaction, you idiot? Yep. When you get allergy tested, you have to be off all your allergy meds. And, amazingly, some of my positive results were stronger than the response to pure histamine. Explain me that God will turn his back at me if I ever kill myself. Wow, frick me, I almost forgot that eternal damnation will wait in the corner. No more suicide thoughts. Thanks, random lady in psychiatric hospital. The same teacher who told me that people who kill themselves go to heck said at my friend's funeral after she killed herself that she was probably watching us from paradise. Accept Jesus into your heart and he will protect you from all illness. A Jehovah Witness at my door that I opened as I was recovering from surgery. I thought it was my brother with my pharmacy pickup. Weird. JWs told me it was God's plan for me to be chronically sick and basically implied I'd done something to deserve it. Frankly, I found it freaking disgusting. Just keep pushing yourself to exercise, building up how much you do, then bingo, you'll be fit and cured. I have CFS. Literally the opposite is true. Also, yoga, breathing, swimming with dolphins, black walnut extract. For everything I've ever had wrong with me. Who knew it was a magic bullet? Mindfulness. Go vegan. Stop being vegan. And changing my attitude. Yep, me too. OMG. The freaking mindfulness killed me. I'm very mindful of the fact I've been grossly mistreated by medical professionals for the better part of a decade. People think all kinds of things will cure endometriosis, leafy greens, B vitamins, pregnancy. My sweet grandma can't seem to grasp the concept of chronic illness and suggests all kinds of things to cure my fibromyalgia. The fact that I'm slowly finding things that work for me, things I can do to improve or control my symptoms, seems to be proof to her that my disorder is curable. Yes, grandma, I am improving. Looking back to a year ago, I'm definitely doing better. Yes, I tried that drink additive you suggested, but it caused a flare up. I wore the energy concentrating essential oil necklace and it gave me a rash. That whole grain bread you brought me was tasty, but I don't feel any different. All her suggestions are usually silly things like that. I'm happy to try new things in case it does make me feel better, but it's a bit of a crapshoot. New things can also make me feel worse. A lot worse. It's a little painful when she visits and tells me she still has hope for me. Can that hope be for realistic improvement and useful symptom management instead of desperately trying to make me like I was before? I'll never be that energetic again, grandma. I've mourned it, I've let it go. I'm living my life anyway. Please accept that. My miss is caused by a food intolerance and I need to use elimination dieting to figure out what that food is and I'll be all cured. Me too. Found the other MSAR in the sub. I also heard positive thoughts works for us too. Freaking okra for type 1 diabetes. Yeah, it's a good veggie, but the best way I've ever had it cooked is like the opposite of good for that. Deep fried in something delicious at an Indian buffet. It's really handy as an ingredient when not deep fried though. Haven't had much success steaming it yet, but I will. T1D reporting. I got the Just Eat cinnamon one before. To suck it up. You have no idea how many times my own father and mother have told me to suck it up and live with it. Then again, my mother did lie to my doctor and family saying that God cured my hearing. I'm ho BTW, when in reality, it's gotten worse. Freaking yikes. I have a friend who's ho, and without hearing aids they can barely hear what people are saying, let alone hold a spoken conversation or follow a lecture. I hope you're getting the support you need now. When I tell you I have chronic daily migraine, please don't tell me about your headaches. Don't tell me about your sister-in-law's hairdresser. Just agree that it's awful and tell me you hope I am having a low pain day. I have EDS. I was told to just stop hyperextending and then I wouldn't be in any pain. I can't just stop it because I've walked a certain way for my entire life, and when I did try to stop it I ended up popping out a joint. Also, to stop taking painkillers because it was ruining my motivation to get better. EDS is incurable and with few treatment plans, so now eat the thing I'm allergic to train my immune system not to attack it. Just think that one through. Just stay positive and pray and it will cure me. Also that my pain meds, that are the only reason I can function at all, are holding me back from recovery. I'm mildly depressed, so I'm not sure if this counts, but someone told me to get over myself and quit acting like a depressed little crap, and yes, that is what they actually said. I was once told that my depression was punishment from God for leaving the Catholic Church and if I went back it would go away. It had nothing to do with the PTSD that I developed after being severely bullied or the family history of varying mental illnesses. Besides, my ex-church pushed me away because I dared to think that I could have a nuanced discussion regarding different religions. They really just wanted to force feed you their beliefs and you just had to blindly accept it. I wasn't very welcome for all the questions I had in retrospect. My father was a pastor when I was a kid and then suddenly transitioned into a career in the tech industry. I learned later in life that he came out about being depressed and the church immediately dropped him like some kind of leper. If this counts, a coloring book for depression. I went to a therapist in college because I was really struggling. High stress situations with school and work plus anxiety and depression were not fun. I left with a coloring book, no coping mechanisms, no breathing exercises to use when I get stressed, a coloring book and some unsolicited comments that had absolutely nothing to do with anything. I'm saying there aren't enough hours in the day to work, go to class, do homework, eat, sleep and shower, and you want me to take an hour out of my day to color because you can't be stressed when coloring? She should have been fired. She worked for the university. Another student I knew went to her. She came back to the office more upset and with bubbles. That crappy therapist is part of the reason I'm on the path to becoming a therapist. I know I can do better than that and I don't want anyone else to ever feel unheard, like they're being rushed out the door or that their therapist just doesn't care you're ready to jump off a bridge. I knew she was a university therapist. If a mental health crisis can't be solved by coloring, fake sun lamps, or petting a puppy, they shut you out. I once walked into the counseling center sobbing because I wanted to kill myself and was told that walking out hadn't started yet, so I had to leave. De-stress, breath more, pop an Advil, take a nap, exercise. For fibromyalgia, IBS, endo, migraines, fatigue. Like literally, I couldn't be less stressed and more into breathing and Advil and naps and less able to exercise than I am now, lol. I know these are all a sliver of my self-care, but all my doctors act like they cured me with these tips. I'm fortunate that my doctor understands that doing all these things just manages symptoms and makes me able to sporadically function like a normal human being. Go vegan for psoriatic arthritis, fibromyalgia, IBS, PCOS, and CPTSD. The one that really annoyed me was the CPTSD, because apparently I was absorbing the trauma of the animals' products I ingested and that was the cause of it all. So there you go. It wasn't the horrible emotional abuse I suffered, it was having cow's milk in my tea. I'm vegan and have several chronic illnesses. If veganism was a cure I'd be the healthiest dang soul. I hate when people think veganism and chronic illness are even related. I've been told to try meat and milk. Like, maybe people need to learn not every disease can be helped by super specific diets. Something like, You need psychological help to make you think you do not have your disability, as if I could just ignore it and it would go away. I have depression, anxiety, PTSD. People have told me just exercise, I would, but it makes me feel even worse emotionally. Sleep less, sleep more, eat, take a brisk walk. I also know alcohol's not too great and I told my doctor that I trying to cut down on my drinking. I'm a bartender, so going out is pretty much on daily basis. And when I told her that I'm gonna try to stay home and maybe just enjoy a glass of good red, she told me that's worse than going out. I lost all my freaking respect for that lady after that. Eat more. If anorexia recovery was that easy, then I would have done it already. Even when I was, as stated by a doctor, 3 days away from dying, I still wanted to exercise and do press-ups, so much so that I went and did 20 in the hospital toilet. My older sister had anorexia, and I'll admit I was on the force her to eat boat because I didn't understand. I just knew she was an anxious mess and prone to self-loathing and self-harm if her test scores were less than perfect. She's doing much better now, has a loving partner, 2 adorable cats, and a solid medical career. If she can make it, so can you. You got this. 3. I pick my nails and skin on my toes when I need distractions. My toes and feet in general are pretty messed up because of untreated trauma from childhood. I barely have any nails on my toes. Can't grow proper nails. My doctor told me to buy some luxury foot cream and a luxury foot bath tinky and then take foot bath 2 times a day and massage my feet with the cream. I have EDS among some other things and have been told to do yoga, literally the worst thing for EDS. Exercise more, yeah, no, that's how I dislocate things. Stop thinking about it so it will stop hurting. Take collagen supplements. That isn't going to change the fact that my body makes structurally useless collagen. Stop all my medications because they're clearly making me sick. Stop wearing braces because they're just a crutch. No, they're there to keep me from subluxing all day long. Type 1 diabetic here. In my late teens my blood sugars were way out of control. I went to the local clinic for a scheduled checkup and my usual GP wasn't there. The locum took a look at my blood sugar levels, HbA1, and just said, "I'm happy to withdraw your insulin and offer palliative care while you die." No discussions of options, or trying new types of insulin, or trying CGM. Maybe she was trying to reverse psych me or something, but frick you, Dr. Hamilton. Frick you very much. PS. Not long after that I visited my proper diabetic consultant at the hospital, who concerned about my persistent cough which my usual GP dismissed, ordered a chest x-ray and diagnosed a deep-seated lung infection, a short course of IV antibiotics, and I was right as rain and HbA1 started dropping towards normal. Stage 4 endo gal here. My original gyn didn't believe me about the horrible flare-ups I was getting at age 18. My mother, who is amazing for this, peeled me out of bed to his office on one of the worst ones I'd ever had. I was soaking through 2 giant pads an hour, projectile vomiting so I couldn't take meds or keep anything down, and of course buckled over in pain. Literally only called ahead on the way there like, "Yo, I'm on my way, her. You better make room and see this for yourself." We get there and he sees me, so while I'm doing my best to keep it together through it all, he tells me, "You should try using tampons and some leave. It would probably take care of this for you." Fast forward 6 years later, I have surgery with a specialist. Not that original gin. Ladies, go get you a specialist. He digs up and removes deep infiltrating endo from my diaphragm, ureters, bladder, kidneys, pelvic wall, uterus, fallopian tubes, ovaries, bowel, cul-de-sac. Removes my appendix BC. It had gotten there too when I was walking around. Appendicitis. Adhesions had my organs in all the wrong places, so my abdomen needed reconstruction. Oh, and a 10cm endometrioma, and many more like it. Yeah, tampons weren't gonna cut it, dude. Have you tried keto? 111. No. I have a weird case of reactive hypoglycemia. If I don't eat a moderate amount of complex carbs, I will 9 times out of 10 lose consciousness before going into ketosis. Believe me, I have tried it, Karen. Yeah, keto doesn't help with hypoglycemia. Homeopathic remedies, or a website. When I googled for what treatment options there were, it always said endometriosis can be cured. No. Please stop pretending. I am lucky it's manageable though with the operation and an IUD. Getting worse again but only slow. After a brain injury, I've been diagnosed with MDD, GAD, chronic migraines, chronic fatigue, and dysautonomia POTS. Here is some bulls various doctors have said to me throughout the process. You haven't found a job yet because employers can sense your depression in an interview and nobody wants to work with a depressed person. So exercise more. It's all in your head. Ignore it and see what happens. It's not affecting your ability to work, so why does it matter? A neurologist told me the numbness and fainting was because of my mental health. I was evaluated by a psychiatrist who said that's not true, and the neurologist didn't change her mind, just said there's nothing I can do for you. Oh man, where to start? My sister-in-law has insisted every ailment, including my fibra, can be cured with ionic foot detox bath, biohacking full body vibration plate, diffused essential oils, NEAT therapy, repolarized water, black cumin seed oil, charcoal pills, eating spoonfuls of coconut oil, pre-methylated vitamins. I'll add others if I can remember them. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.